What a lamentable state of affairs. I remember the days when Laplace's garden lived up to its estimable purpose. Now look at it. The fountain in disrepair, pedagogy in the park, even the lights above our heads have winked out like stars taken down from the sky.
The other brands may be 80 proof, but ours has 80 proofs. One printed on each label. Collect and study them all.
From the order of the...
Nevertheless, one must persist. The plan is good. The shadow of ignorance cannot withstand its light. I knew you had a knowledgeable look about you. That would be wonderful. Thank you, dear. There's a panel just here. I will supervise from a respectable distance, but know that I am with you in theory, like the architect's own guiding hand. And so there was light. My sincerest thanks. I will be sure to extol your virtues to the laureates the next time we speak. And here, a little treat for your effort.
And then one day our eyes did meet, and fate set into motion that telltale surge of dopamine and increase.
A second makeup exam will not be off, so I hope you studied this time, Briar. You may begin now.
Right. No pressure.
Hormonal persuasion I shall share with you now.
I have many solutions, but none for your problems, by the look of you.
My heart's complex equation.
Smart researchers patronize the scientician's surplus. Quality goods at algorithmically determined prices. The scientician's surplus. No more than what you need.
Welcome to the Scientician Surplus. I am the scientician in question. Any inquiries about the stock may be directed to me. Please peruse with discernment.
Minus one. To the power of three. All to the power of three. Equals x squared times y cubed. That is the graph of my heart. That is the graph of my heart. That is the graph.
You are here for a Of course you would.
Next, the latest field data validating or repudiating our forecasts and relevant informational details for near-present and future calculations. Fellows, our archivists in discrete warfare analysis have completed their audit of the Protectorate's combat effectiveness. Praetor factors heavily in their findings. This minute moon plays a colossal role in both the Protectorate's military readiness and the oppression of their subject populace. Although Anti's Choice have extended their corporate umbrella over Praetor, their foothold is insubstantial, their momentum stalled. Protectorate manufacturing remains robust. Their automechanical factory, for instance, is reportedly operating at 89.25% efficiency, more than adequate to reinforce their military ranks. The factory is also involved in manufacturing performance-augmenting combat armor for human combatants. Our presence on Praetor is limited at best. We operate a grounding station to regulate the lethal electrified atmospherics unique to this moon. Such irony. Our station greatly increases Praetor's habitability, even for our drones. Will those laypersons ever shower us with gratitude for not turning it against them? Of course not.
In closing, a potentially incongruent word of advice. Invariably find a way to turn your negatives into positives.
Continuing as predetermined. This popular number has been conclusively proven to promote cognitive function.
Probability and the grand plan.
Strange to see all this vacant space after the overcrowding at Matriarch's Mercy. Plenty of room for refugees here, if only the Order administrants got their act together.
Predict events to varying degrees of certainty is fundamentally rooted in statistical mathematics. Statistics, at its heart, is naught but data. Data that is gathered, collated, and subjected to analysis. But what is the role of chance in that analysis? Let's look at the interpretation of pure chance. If one flips a
Have an intellectually stimulating day.
on with a 1 in 2 chance, or tails with a 1 in 2 chance. But are there really 2 outcomes? Is there not one specific outcome we can determine? Yes. With complete information, there can be no chance, only outcome. Complete information yields perfect predictions, 100% accuracy, known outcomes. Now we come to one of the most difficult concepts in the Order for initiates to grasp. If the result of the flip of a coin is known to be heads, is it necessary to flip the coin? Would it not be more efficient to simply go forward as if it had been flipped and proceed with whatever action that flip was intended to choose? If so, what part of that choice was ever left to chance? The answer, of course, is none. Only when there is less than complete information are we reduced to chance. At present, we do not have complete information. Instead, we are still forced to deal in probabilities, expected values, and standard deviations, which lead to the dreaded sigma of probability distributions. By necessity, we are forced to estimate outcomes based on assumed distributions of sample populations. Such a travesty. No, not a travesty, a tragedy.
Think thrice before rabble-rousing. We have numerical superiority.
Will help us avoid. Every bit of data collected, analyzed, and input by our archivists brings us closer to our goal. To the solving of the universal equation. Probability is not enough. Guesses are not enough. Incomplete information leads to inaccurate predictions, which lead to tragedies. We must not guess. We must know. Help us know. Contribute any and all data you can collect to our proud archivists. And you too can say you contributed to the archive.
another installment of Ask a with Vicar Magsai. A recent inquiry: why do I hear order product advertisements from the same voices denouncing Auntie's Choice rampant commercialism?
Good question. I'd say the place we differ most from our consumers' rivals is, well, our overall philosophy. The way we view everything. They believe in profit above all else, while we strive for the ascendance of all humanity through the solution of the universal equation. The difference could hardly be greater. So, while we might share methods from time to time, such as the distribution of goods in our case, to help others ascend to greater heights, we could hardly be more dissimilar.
Do you have an inquiry about our order you're bursting to ask? Drop us a message at your local predictory. Keep put, much is left to come. And now, a song from a composer predicted to have 3 well-liked melodies and become allergic to water this year.
I hope you have good news for me. And I'd like...
You taught me scientific ways, even Sears did not foresee. 2 heavenly bodies never had pressure. Shot by fluids to 100 degrees.
I hope you have good news for me. I knew I had the right person for the job. You've saved me quite the headache. Your reward, as promised. Likewise, I'll remain in the garden a little while longer, but it would be best if we limited contact with one another. No offense. But who knows? The plan mystifies even the greatest minds. Perhaps our paths will intersect again someday.
For pity's sake, is it the pump or the sealant? Industrial science is mostly theory, they said. You won't have to put your knowledge into practice for years, they said. Now the fountain's broken and I can't... Useless. I'm useless. If you're here to proctor my bi-weekly patient screening, might I ask that we reschedule? We had an avalanche recently not far from the dome. One of these fountains stopped working around the same time. Stands to reason something must have been jostled loose. I recently placed into the industrial sciences, so I've been entrusted to fix the issue. But I've never had to put my knowledge into application before. It's not going well. The garden is supposed to be perfect, not a stem or stamen out of place. Lack of perfection betrays carelessness, negligence, imprecision. It's basic causal inference. If I can't nip this issue in the proverbial bud, who knows what might happen as a result? Pressure keeps undisciplined minds out from positions of greater authority. That's just... No, of course. You must...
Agree. Vinculum flavored drops are qualitatively advantageous.
Try not to deviate from the norm.
With Vinculum from the Order of the Ascendant. A roguish comical remark discovered upon a chalkboard. And his choice and the Protectorate both count very little. The Order of the Ascendant counts the most. The following song has been determined to facilitate abstract thinking and constructive rumination.
No reason to reason with you.
Security personnel are permitted in this booth. Lift access is currently restricted. Keep moving.
I don't know who you are, but if you thought it wise to bring a cultist into the heart of Order territory, you are deeply foolish. I have not the slightest theory as to how you bypassed our guards. But if it was through violence, be assured, it will be returned exponentially.
Exactly. Though, to be honest, I was thinking of filleting you, but it didn't seem worth getting Artificer all over me.
I shall be the judge of her trustworthiness myself. There is a cultist-centric issue the Order needs resolved. I suspect you are capable of doing such. If you are not, I cannot trust you, and certainly cannot allow you to see Ruth.
If these cultists are suffering the same affliction of being traitorous curs as the others seem to be, then I look forward to killing them. What? My knife has been clean since we entered this place. Don't I get any credit for that?
My task is this. A myriad of cultists have taken over the settlement of Newton, which is a nearby site of historical but not strategic significance. I want them gone. Once there was a bridge stretching from the settlement to the archive, but it was destroyed by a rift. Best keep your distance should you travel there.
As much as I'd welcome the bloodshed, it may be wise for me to avoid members of the Dawn until I get their treachery sorted.
I'll withhold my appreciation until this task is complete. May you act within the equation's confines. I always find I work best when now. How might we be of use to one? I scarcely take time to engage in idle conversation, but perhaps this will be illuminating in some fashion. Who told you about that? Were there an experiment being conducted here involving any kind of medicament? Confirming its existence would compromise it. The theoretical existence or non-existence of Order experiments are strictly within the Order's purview. It doesn't concern you. You are giving me cranial neuralgia. If you really want to bother someone about this, bother Beckett. Maybe he'll predict your arrival.
Products researched and designed to increase energy, efficiency, creativity.
Specifically, a phlogistinated firearm, capable of tunneling through reinforced armor. Broadly, weaponry, research, anything capable of giving our exemplars an edge. Great. I was just thinking, I'd love for a stranger to come along and patronize me so I could blindly hand them experimental Order technology.
Remind yourself, contentment is found by accepting your role.
I have nothing but respect for Ruth. Without her guidance, the Order may never have found the strength to dissolve its protectorate bonds. If I had to dig for the smallest critique, I'd note that she shoulders too much. If she collapses beneath the strain, the Order will be rudderless. This we cannot afford. I generally prefer to keep discussions relevant. Let's pinpoint what you...
I'm not just saying this because I take great joy in the killing of those who have betrayed me, but we should find some glorious dawn camp so I can send a message to my old friend.
Come back later.
Agent, over here. Well, this is a welcome confluence of events. Why, without you, Gertie and I wouldn't be alive. And any hope of peace between the Order and Auntie's choice would be over. Dreadful, you know. Positively dreadful. How the peace talks were interrupted. I felt our two delegations were making real progress. While making our escape, we encountered one of the renegades of my order, wounded and dying. He sought to unburden himself, now convinced Wiley's calculations were wrong. He told us all about that terrible DeVries woman's plan, and theorized you must have stopped her. Well, I think that's what he said. There was quite a lot of gurgling. You have mine and Gertie's utmost gratitude for intervening. Had she succeeded in assassinating us, it would have terminated any hope for peace. Officially, not at present. Gertie and I have kept up communication through back channels in the hope that the discussions can be reconvened in due time. It is my earnest belief that this is the optimal course to chart for the Order, and for Arcadia. Though we could certainly use assistance from an outside force like yourself. To begin, I believe you would need to put forth efforts in good faith with each of the two groups. Earning the trust of both sides is essential. Once you've worked your way up to meeting our respective leaders, you must convince them to consider joining forces. Oh, really? Perhaps the challenge rating is far less than I've hitherto calculated. Well, obviously you'll likely have to act as an intermediary between Ruth and Auntie, which will require some verbal finesse. But let's worry about that step upon reaching it. Transplendent. Remember, seek out ways to help both sides, engender trust. Gertie and I can let you know when it's time to move forward. In the meantime, I might recommend you work on honing your oratory skills. Our presiding bishop and Auntie Cleo can be challenging to debate with.
You were just listening to next week's #1 hit. Consistency in your work is wonderful. Consistency in playlists is not. Now for a new song.
Anticipate the answers, to terminate the errors, and liberate our lives, to integrate ideas, and dissipate disasters.
This is Grand Plan Wireless, broadcasting soothing tunes for your audio canal and enriching content for your cerebral cortex around the chronometer until we achieve ascension. Colleagues, we are living in astounding yet increasingly difficult to predict times. We need look no further than the rift intensification event. It is no great leap to hypothesize the rifts present an extinction-level threat. How fascinating. And worth noting how our Arcadian cohabitators view this energetic phenomenon. The incursive bit brokers in Auntie's Choice perceive the rifts as an exploitable resource once someone figures out how to stabilize them. No great cognitive feat to deduce that someone is us. Meanwhile, those chronic underthinkers in the Protectorate are taking their textbook propagandized approach, outwardly heralding the rifts as a portent of their vaunted paradigm, while no doubt inwardly seeking their own means to mitigate their peril. This is not idle speculation. The Protectorate is operating their own laboratory dedicated to rift research, the Interstitial Reconfiguration Center on Praetor.
Did you receive your personalized order prediction yet? I'll admit to a bit of trepidation in regards to opening mine. This is the first one I've received since deployment.
Honestly, the ones you get in the field are...
Use caution as you progress. There's been reports of personalized.
Mobilizing.
We've dealt with all of them. Oh, that was a close one.
Well-sourced information about the rift situation.
That is all for now. Until next time, keep hail and mind your calculations. Unlike parallel lines, I hope someday we'll meet.
Further beneficial content soon follows. Consistency in your work is wonderful. Consistency in playlists is not. Now for a new song.
Soldier, please assess your pain on a variable scale of 1 to 100, with 1 being entirely pain-free and 100 being the worst pain you can imagine.
There is far too much variability in that scale. The amount of pain I can imagine is hardly an objective measure of the maximum amount of pain I could actually feel.
Your observation is correct, which is a diagnostic in its own right. Now, if you were to indicate, using a scale of 0.4 to 12.7, how close you are to going into shock?
Sadly, that scale is entirely beyond my current comprehension, thus leading me to believe I'm already in shock, and the question itself was the actual test.
Excellent. Our diagnostic is complete, and you should feel free to resume bemoaning your agony. Not in the mood for a random interaction. Thank you.
Do you see these magnificent weapons? They have the greatest destructive potential the Protectorate can bring to bear. Tell me that. I can tell we have little crossover of interests.
Don't bother conversating unless you're prepared to cite your sources.
Captain, I fear I have a confession to make. I have found being present on Cloister underwhelming.
Really? What part about the situation is underwhelming? The corporate invaders killing our scientists en masse? The Protectorate subjects raising our research? I sincerely hope you're not about to tell me it's the weather.
What? No, I lost my thread of thought.
Another object, just gone. Nothing should work that way. No matter how often the data is verified and sanctioned, it is difficult to believe.
I concur. I would give an internal organ or two to understand it, and what it means.
Shocking moonscape.